Well, the news that came out today is huge, guys. It may only sound like a couple more Supreme Court decisions where nothing is going to happen, but you would be wrong. The decisions made today by SCOTUS have set a precedent that is going to free the Trump administration to start draining the swamp. In a previous video, we talked about what would have to happen if we can't get control of the judicial system. Basically, Trump would have to suspend the Supreme Court, and they know he can do it. It appears that the Supreme Court is going to do what they need to do and won't risk such drastic actions. It's checkmate, and they know it. So let's look at the capitulative decisions that were just made. The first is a significant ruling that consolidated 3 different cases where lower courts interfered with an executive action by President Trump. The consolidated cases of Trump v. CASA, Inc., Trump v. Washington, and Trump v. New Jersey, decided by the U.S. Supreme Court on June 27, 2025, dealt with both the issue of lower court injunctions and President Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship. These 3 cases were combined because they all challenged the same executive action, President Trump's executive order attempting to limit birthright citizenship, which would deny automatic U.S. citizenship to children born in the U.S. to non-citizens. The cases originated in different federal district courts, each issuing injunctions to block the executive order. The 6-3 decision held that lower courts overstepped their authority by issuing sweeping injunctions that halted the executive order nationwide. The court emphasized that injunctions must be tailored to the specific plaintiff's injuries. For example, if a plaintiff in Washington state challenges the policy, the injunction should only protect that plaintiff or similarly situated individuals, not the entire country. This stripped a lot of power from these out-of-hand lower judges who think they have the right to decide issues for the entire country. So the Supreme Court said, you can't stop the executive order changing birthright citizenship for all dreamers. Then they sent the case back down to the lower court to decide the case for only the plaintiffs involved. The justices noted that broader relief must be pursued under class action suits, but emphasized that class certification is a more rigorous process, requiring plaintiffs to meet specific criteria such as numerosity, commonality, typicality, and adequacy of representation. So the court has made it much tougher for these lower judges to stop the president's agenda, but they haven't made it impossible. That doesn't mean that the agency can just start all deportations. A precedent has been set that lower judges cannot unilaterally overturn executive orders, but SCOTUS granted a temporary stay allowing the existing lower court injunctions blocking the birthright citizenship executive order to remain in place until approximately July 27, 2025. This gives plaintiffs time to adjust their legal strategy, such as seeking narrower injunctions tailored to specific plaintiffs or pursuing class action certification under Rule 23 to maintain broader relief. The 30-day stay applies only to the birthright citizenship executive order. It does not cover all deportations in Washington, New Jersey, or other states. The ruling and the 30-day stay are narrowly focused on the birthright citizenship policy, not general immigration enforcement or deportation activities. Deportations in these states or elsewhere can continue under existing immigration laws and policies unless blocked by separate injunctions. Justice Thomas stressed that the court today puts an end to the increasingly common practice of federal courts issuing universal injunctions. There are 94 federal judicial districts and just 5 liberal districts issued 35 of the nationwide injunctions. They tried to steal executive power, and that isn't going to happen. President Trump responded to the decision saying that now he'll be able to move forward with ending birthright citizenship, defunding sanctuary cities, and banning federal funding of trans surgeries on minors. So this was a huge win, but I remain cautious because I understand the tenacity of the enemy. The decision did not rule on the constitutionality of the executive order itself, which seeks to deny automatic citizenship to children born in the U.S. to undocumented immigrants or those on temporary visas, leaving existing injunctions in place for 30 days to allow further legal challenges. The court suggested that plaintiffs could pursue nationwide class actions under Rule 23 for broader relief, raising questions about class certification standards, such as whether uninjured class members can be included. This ruling, which split along ideological lines with the liberal justices dissenting, may lead to a patchwork of citizenship rules across states and has sparked debate over judicial power and the future of birthright citizenship. Also on Friday, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled 6-3 in Mahmoud v. Taylor, siding with Maryland parents who challenged a Montgomery County school board policy that eliminated opt-outs for elementary students exposed to storybooks with LGBTQ+ themes, such as Born Ready, which is about a transgender child, and Prince and Knight, which depicts same-sex marriage. So basically, the school was trying to force the LGBTQ+ agenda down kids' throats, and the parents couldn't stop it. Well, the court held that the policy violated the parents' First Amendment free exercise rights by compelling their children to engage with material conflicting with their religious beliefs, ordering schools to reinstate opt-out options and provide advance notice pending further litigation. The decision strengthens parental control over their children's religious and moral education, but doesn't go far enough. It doesn't ban the books in our schools, however. Schools must notify parents and allow opt-outs, so this is going to make it more difficult to poison the kids' minds. Even though the books are still allowed in schools, hopefully President Trump's executive order cutting off funding for schools pushing the LGBTQ+ agenda will be enough to stop this madness. It's a slow process, but we are seeing people detransitioning in droves. Unfortunately, many have irreparable damage. Florida passed a law allowing the death penalty for adults convicted of sexually battering a child under 12. Governor Ron DeSantis signed House Bill 1297 into law on May 1, 2023, and it took effect on October 1, 2023. The law authorizes prosecutors to pursue capital punishment in these cases, requiring at least 8 out of 12 jurors to recommend a death sentence for a judge to impose it. There's a problem, though. The law challenges a 2008 SCOTUS ruling, Kennedy v. Louisiana, which found that the death penalty for child rape, where the victim does not die, violates the Eighth Amendment's ban on cruel and unusual punishment. Florida's law has not yet been enforced because of the potential legal challenges of this precedent, but it remains in effect pending further court rulings. The media, which now appears to be highly influenced, if not controlled by the alliance, seems to be ramping up for a news cycle about the Autopen. This event could greatly facilitate the cleansing phase of our evolution. We've talked about timeframes in a recent video, and if the administration can prove that Joe Biden had no knowledge of anything the Autopen signed, then an awful lot of laws and pardons will be invalid. No fighting in court or with Congress about it. It's really an ingenious offensive move. From what we have heard, the only document that was signed by Joe Biden was his son, Hunter's pardon. So, in addition to quickly undoing a lot of orders and laws, it also clears the path for prosecutions that he pardoned. It will definitely move things along to undo about anything the phantom Biden administration did. That's what's important. And I'm not sure if it will ever be revealed that even the Hunter pardon wasn't signed by the real Joe Biden. I say this because many have been saying that Joseph R. Biden has been dead since at least 2018. We're not going to look into any speculation here, but we are going to briefly address total disclosure. We've talked about it many times, and most people feel that complete and total disclosure about everything that's been going on is necessary. But we must not act out of spite. The primary goal is to heal as quickly as possible. Of course, many don't know the true extent of the depravity, so there's a delicate balance here. How much is necessary to change the people's apathy? How much do they need to know so that they never allow our government structures to be weaponized against us again? I want people to focus on something. We want to resolve the problem and prevent it from reoccurring so that we can move into the golden age and an amazing evolution into higher existence, which includes higher technologies. That's the goal, guys, not revenge. There will need to be eliminations, but after many years watching this, I don't think we need people sitting around a TV salivating for revenge. We want higher vibrations on our planet, such as peace, love, compassion, and clarity. That's where we need to go. Everything that happens in the coming days should be met with overwhelming gratitude, not anger. They have stolen our joy long enough. This Autopen hullabaloo is a big deal strategically, and I think it's going to go a long way in moving us to freedom as quickly as possible. The evil ones will get their due, but like a bad memory, the quicker we move on, the happier we will be. In a bold move to curb wasteful government spending, the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, led by Elon Musk, reportedly blocked a $52 million payment to the World Economic Forum, an organization known for its Davos summits and global economic policy discussions. This decision, confirmed by Musk on X, aligns with DOGE's mission to enhance fiscal accountability and prioritize taxpayer funds for American interests. The cancellation sparked widespread debate, with supporters praising it as a stand against funding elite global agendas, while critics argued it could strain United States participation in international economic dialogues. Personally, from what I'm seeing, our international relations have never been better. DOGE's aggressive approach to auditing federal expenditures is ruffling a lot of feathers, and the ones that squawk the most have the most to hide. Alligator Alcatraz is a controversial migrant detention facility under construction in Florida's Everglades at the Dade Collier Training and Transition Airport, a remote, largely abandoned airfield. To support the Trump administration's mass deportation agenda, the facility will house up to 5,000 detainees in tents and trailers, leveraging the surrounding alligator and python-filled swamps as a natural security barrier. I laugh at the sensationalism of the description. As someone who's been in Florida most of my life, alligators are all over here. There was one in my yard laying right against my screening. So yes, we have snakes and alligators, and the Everglades are pretty unspoiled, but it's not like being surrounded by piranha-infested water. The facility is expected to open next week and is being funded partly by FEMA money that was paying for illegals to stay in five-star hotels. That's it for this update. I'm working on a way to incorporate some health tips into the news videos, but I'm beat tonight, so I'll start that on the next one. Until next time, it's not over yet, but every day is better than the day before.